Hey everyone, Nick here from Talking Cardboard, and today I'm going to do my next installment of Culling Time. A few months ago I did my first video on Culling Time, talking about 5 board games that I'm going to try to sell out of my collection and the reasons why. Today I'm actually about to go in a few minutes to this tabletop market where I will have a table selling a lot of games for my collection. And before I do that, I wanted to talk about 5 of the probably top selling games that I'll be bringing to this market and explain why I'm getting them out of my collection. And without further ado, let's get this started because I actually need to leave for this market pretty soon. And the first entry into this list is actually a little bit of a cheat because it's 2 games. They are the Tiny Epic Zombies and Tiny Epic Defender games. A lot of people are huge fans of the Tiny Epic series, and I would say for the most part I appreciate what Game One Games is doing with these games. Because as you can see, the footprint is so small. Obviously it can go in a backpack and a lot of other portable carrying devices, which is great. Not a lot of games pack the kind of punch these games do considering this box size. But with that said, the gameplay in both of these just wasn't enticing enough for me to keep them in my collection. For Tiny Epic Defender, this is basically a castle defense game. I have plenty of this style of game in my collection that I'd rather play over this one, even given the small box size. And same with Tiny Epic Zombies. Obviously a fun little game, but I have other zombie games in my collection that I'd rather play than Tiny Epic Zombies. As much as I appreciate the portability of these games, the portability of these games is not enough to justify keeping them in my collection. So that's why my number 5 games that I hope to sell today are the Tiny Epic games that I have in my collection. Now the next game I want to talk about is a game called Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. This is based on the Pathfinder RPG series, or RPG game, which I've never really gotten into RPG, but I appreciate any game that tries to simulate an RPG with traditional board game rule set. And that's what's going on in this game. It is just a card game. I do appreciate more of a board with your characters on the board and moving around, where in this game it's purely just playing cards and rolling all the different D6, D8s, D12s, D20s. I can't say that the gameplay itself was bad, but the other aspect of this game that kind of made me decide I wanted to get rid of it is I felt it was one of those games where you needed to collect everything that came out with this game. And there's so much expansion content, and I have so many other games in my collection that I want to get expansions for, to keep this game, I felt this game wasn't enticing enough for me to keep, given the fact I have all these other games that I want to get expansions for. So with that said, I'm going to try to get rid of this game today at the board game market. Again, not a bad game by any means. It really does a great job of providing you an RPG experience with card play, but it just wasn't quite interesting enough for me to keep in my collection. All right. The next game I'm going to talk about might be a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people, given the fact it is considered a high-quality game, and that's All Bridges Burning, which is a coin game from GMT. It's actually the volume 10 in their coin series. And I actually played this for the first time with Corey last Saturday, and because he wants to get more into coin games. And I will say up front, I really, really appreciate the history that this game teaches you simply by reading the rulebook. I was reading the rulebook and I was learning about the history of the Finnish Civil War, a topic which I had absolutely zero understanding of before reading the rulebook for this game. So I can't say how much I appreciate a game teaching me history and also providing a gameplay experience. Now, history aside, the gameplay of this game really dragged on. When Corey and I were really trying to struggle through the rulebook, I had played the coin game Falling Skies, and I didn't remember Falling Skies actually being as complicated and convoluted as this one was. I will say a big part of the reason why Corey and I think were struggling was we were trying to play with a AI controlled player, the moderate we used as the AI controlled player. And in All Bridges Burning, unique from the other coin games is that the AI system is a deck of cards. Typically, you have a giant flowchart to simulate how to act for the AI player. But in this game, it gives you a deck of cards depending for each faction in the game. So I thought it would actually be easier then to play with an AI player in All Bridges Burning, but I almost found the opposite to be true. It was extremely, we found ourselves like trying to discern what the AI should be doing based on what the card they were supposed to be playing. And it just got bogged down, unfortunately, and I started losing interest in this game. The theme, although I appreciate learning the history of the theme itself didn't really grasp me either. So that's definitely probably part of the reason why I didn't really care to hold on to this coin game. I still have Falling Skies and the American Revolution one, Liberty or Death. I still have those in my collection because I think the theme of those two coin games appeal to me more than the Finnish Civil War. So I just don't see myself wanting, if I wanted to play a coin game, I'm either going to try Root, which I have in my collection and really have yet to get to the table, but I consider a coin game in my opinion. It's a coin game, even though it's not a coin game, or Falling Sky or Liberty or Death. And they keep coming out with more coin games. So, that I think I might even enjoy more in the future. So with all that said, I'm going to try to call All Bridges Burning from my collection. Okay, next game I want to talk about is a big dungeon crawler called Myth. Now, Myth, maybe for its time when it first came out, was quite an appealing game. I actually got this I think from consignment from a board game store a few years ago, and thought it was a good price when I bought it used. So I didn't really think much of it at the time, but I don't think this game has aged very well. I've yet to ever get to the table. But since I acquired Myth, I've gotten so many dungeon crawler games that I want to get through that having this in my collection seems kind of pointless. I want to play through Madara. I want to play through Sword and Sorcery. I want to play through Kingdom Death Monster. These are all games that are going to take a considerable amount of time to play through. And I'm sure this game would as well, but those other games just are more interesting to me to play. So for that reason, I'm going to have to get rid of Myth. I was looking at the rule book while I was counting the pieces for this game to make sure I had everything before I sold it. And I was like, oh, this game actually kind of looks interesting. But online, I read a lot of people complain about the rule book for this game being poor. And that's the last thing I want to deal with, is getting into a big campaign game only to find out that I'm not getting what I need to out of the rule book. So with that said, I'm going to try to sell Myth today. And that brings me to my last game, which is probably going to frustrate a lot of you, but also some of you might be able to relate with me on this one. And that is Gloomhaven. Oh my god. So this game obviously was number one on the BGG Geek list for a while. Still considered one of the best games out there based on Board Game Geek from what I understand. But it's just not for me. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I already have a ton of adventure games or dungeon crawler games that I want to get through. So that I have to keep, I have to want to play this more than those other ones. And I simply don't. Why is that? Well, first of all, I should mention over the last several weeks, I've been playing the digital version of Gloomhaven with some friends from college. And it's been an okay experience. But by playing the digital version, I realized I would never want to play the physical version. The digital version, first of all, I don't like the card system, first of all. The combat system using cards just does not rub me the right way. I don't like the fact when I'm playing my character, I have like a really good card, and then if you really want to use it, you have to burn it, and then you're done for that scenario with that. You can't use that card again. You're done. In a lot of adventure games, I want to be able to use my same ultra, unique ability more than once in a given scenario. I get it that you can't expect to do the same overpowered thing over and over and over again, but in Gloomhaven, you might set yourself up to do this really powerful ability, and then you get screwed over because the enemy initiative is better, and then they stun you, and now you just wasted a card, and that just irks me so bad. I'm sure a lot of players that play this game like, oh, you have to account for that, you have to be more strategic, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to play a game and feel frustrated by playing it. I want to play a game and enjoy it. The other thing that terrifies me after just playing the digital version is the upkeep for this game. Having that 20 card or however many card, because it could, I guess, go up in size, that modifier deck of cards that you're drawing from for every single attack, and to manage that for all the different units on the table just sounds like such a chore. And then to shuffle it every time you draw a critical miss or a critical hit, that just does not sound like fun to me. I would just prefer you roll dice and that's your result, right? Like that's way easier than drawing a card and then having to manage this whole separate deck of cards and having to manage decks and decks of cards. And there's just a lot of upkeep things that I feel, again, digitally, it's fine. The computer takes care of it for you. But if I were to play the physical version, I would be, gosh, this would be really frustrating me to deal with. So with all those reasons, I decided I just don't care to have this game in my collection anymore. I've had it sitting on my shelf for maybe 5 years now, thinking eventually I would get it to the table. And over those 5 years, I've gotten other dungeon crawler games that I definitely would rather play. And so I've decided to try to get rid of Gloomhaven. Obviously, I know a lot of people really like this game. So I appreciate those people in the world that really appreciate the experience Gloomhaven offers, but it's just not for me. So with that said, those are the 5 main top selling games I hope to sell today at this tabletop market. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this list, if you agree or disagree and why. And wish me luck today, guys. I have so many other games I'm going to try to sell too, in addition to these 5. So I'm kind of excited to find, and this is a unique experience for me. Typically, I'm not one to get excited about selling my board games, but I finally realized, okay, I'm getting to the point where I can't ever play all of these, and these games are just taking up space on my my real estate on these Calic shelves, where I could have other games in their place that I would actually want to play. So it's time that I finally start selling some of these games. Let me know also if this is the type of video you want to see more of in the future. And with that said, thanks guys for watching. Hope to see you guys again soon. And I'm Nick from Talking Cardboard. See you later.